Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to dig in.
All right, so this time you've sent over a ton of stuff on purpose, visualization, and intent.
Yeah. It's like a whole blueprint for, well, like really intentional living.
Right. It's pretty amazing how much practical stuff there is too, not just like, motivational fluff.
Oh, absolutely. There's real science behind this stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating, actually.
You know what really struck me? This whole idea that your mind can basically work like a GPS, guiding you towards your goals.
Like an internal guidance system. I like that.
But instead of using, roads and traffic, it runs on something much more powerful, your own purpose.
That's what all these sources seem to be pointing to. And the exciting part is that they go beyond just the hype. They delve into the science behind it all.
And give you actual steps you can use. Okay, so let's jump right in. One thing that keeps popping up is this idea of a power trio.
Purpose, visualization, and intent.
Yeah. Why are they always grouped together?
Well, because they work together synergistically. Think of it like a car. Okay. You have this amazing sports car.
Okay.
Visualization is you setting your destination on the GPS. Intent is putting your foot on the gas, actually driving.
Okay, I'm following.
But purpose is the engine. Without it, you won't move an inch. Even with the fanciest car, it's what gives your actions meaning and direction.
I see. So you can have all the bells and whistles, but without that engine, that core purpose, you're not going anywhere.
Exactly. It's like having a rocket without fuel.
It makes sense. But, finding your purpose can feel, well, daunting. Like, where do you even begin?
Right. One of these sources, Your Secret Weapons for Success, I think it was called, suggests a really interesting approach.
Okay, what's that?
They say to shift your thinking, instead of asking, what do I want? Ask, what problem do I want to solve?
That's interesting. So it's less about focusing on what you lack and more about, like, identifying a need you can fulfill.
Yeah, exactly. And that can have a huge impact because it connects you to a deeper motivation.
Which is?
The desire to make a positive impact. So it's not just about you accumulating stuff. It's about contributing something meaningful.
Okay. So how would that work in a real life example?
Well, let's say you want a bigger house.
Okay. Pretty common goal.
Right. That's a want. But if you dig deeper, you might realize you want a bigger house to create a space for your family so they can connect and create memories.
Ah, I see.
So then you've identified a problem, the lack of space, and your purpose becomes creating that space.
Wow, that's a really cool way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting what you want, but how you can use what you have or gain to make a difference.
Exactly.
It definitely gives your goals more depth, more meaning. Okay, what about visualization? I've always been a bit skeptical, honestly.
Yeah.
Is it really more than just, wishful thinking?
Well, there's some pretty fascinating science behind it. When you vividly imagine your desired outcome, your brain actually starts creating neural pathways.
Really?
Yeah. Almost like it's rehearsing for the real thing. It's called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on experiences, even imagined ones. So it's like you're setting your internal GPS to success destination and starting to pave the road to get there.
So by repeatedly visualizing success, I'm actually making my brain more likely to achieve it. That's kind of wild.
It is pretty mind-blowing. And the sources emphasize that it's not just about seeing the end goal. It's about engaging all your senses in the visualization.
Like what?
Imagine the sounds, the smells, the emotions, everything.
Ah, so you're not just seeing it, you're experiencing it, even if it's just in your mind.
Right. And that level of detail makes it feel more real to your brain, and it strengthens those neural pathways.
Okay, you've definitely convinced me to give visualization a try. So I'm starting to see how purpose and visualization work together, but where does intent fit in? Isn't it just about taking action?
Well, intent is a bit more nuanced than just action. It's the bridge between being busy and making meaningful progress.
Okay, so it's about being intentional with your actions, making sure each step is moving you towards your goal.
Yeah, exactly. One source put it this way. It's the difference between vaguely wanting to read more and setting a specific intention. Like, I will read 10 pages every morning because it helps me start my day focused and positive.
Ah, I see. So it's not just about the action itself, it's about the why behind it.
Right. It transforms a general wish into a targeted strategy.
That makes sense. It's not about being busy. It's about making every action count.
That's the heart of it, yeah.
Okay, so we've got this purpose-powered engine, the visualization GPS, and now intent, which is like the driver, I guess. But if we're talking about setting ourselves up for success, wouldn't a deep dive into that also include looking at, well, the things we consume?
Oh, you mean like information, media, even the company we keep?
Exactly.
That's a really great point. And it leads us to one of the more surprising insights from these sources. One of them makes this really interesting comparison between, well, consuming information and eating food.
Okay, how so?
They argue that just like filling your body with junk food leaves you feeling sluggish,
Yeah.
filling your mind with junk information can do the same thing to your thinking.
Whoa. I never really thought about it that way.
Hmm.
Like what I read or watch could impact my ability to reach my goals.
Right. But think about it, like scrolling through social media for hours, getting caught up in all that negativity, all that drama.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
It's like eating a bag of chips for every meal. Maybe satisfying in the moment, but...
But not exactly nourishing.
Exactly. And it can even make you feel worse.
So what's the equivalent of like a healthy mental diet?
The sources talk a lot about being more mindful, about the information you consume.
Okay, so being more selective.
Yeah, seeking out stuff that inspires you, stuff that challenges you, things that help you grow.
Makes sense. It's like we're so careful about what we put in our bodies, but we don't always think about what we're feeding our minds.
It's easy to forget, right? But it's just as important.
So being intentional about what we read, watch, listen to, just like we are with food.
Exactly.
But what about the people we surround ourselves with? Is that part of this mental diet too?
Oh, absolutely. One source even says, Ole said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Wow, that's a pretty powerful statement. So if you're constantly around negative people who, I don't know, maybe doubt you.
Yeah, or criticize your ambitions.
Right. It's going to be that much harder to achieve your goals.
It makes sense, right? Our environment, it really does shape us.
So part of setting ourselves up for success is, well, it's surrounding ourselves with people who believe in us.
People who inspire us, people who challenge us to grow.
It sounds like we need a supportive team, not just for accountability, but for our overall well-being.
Absolutely. One source described it as having a team of cheerleaders in your corner.
I like that. So they push you to keep going, even when things get tough.
But it's more than just cheering you on, right? They offer different
To
perspectives.
provide honest feedback.
Yeah, and help you see your blind spots, those things we all have but don't always recognize.
It's like having a team of, I don't know, like mentors and allies, people who are actually invested in your growth.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've got our purpose-powered engine, our visualization GPS guiding us, and this supportive team cheering us on. It's starting to feel like we have a real blueprint for intentional living. But even with all that, there's always a risk of setbacks.
Oh, for sure.
Life rarely goes according to plan. So how do we deal with the inevitable challenges?
Well, one of the sources talked about the importance of embracing the process. They said that setbacks aren't failures, they're opportunities.
Opportunities for what?
For learning and growth. It's about shifting our perspective.
From seeing challenges as roadblocks to seeing them as stepping stones.
Exactly. So instead of getting discouraged, you use those experiences to learn, to adjust, to become more resilient.
And we don't have to do it alone.
Right. That's where our supportive network comes in. They can offer encouragement, help us see things from a new angle.
Remind us of our strengths.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like having a pit crew ready to make repairs, get you back on track when you hit a bump in the road.
Love that analogy.
But let's face it, sometimes those bumps can feel more like mountains.
Especially when we're dealing with things like anxiety, self-doubt.
Exactly. How do we navigate those internal roadblocks?
Well, one source had a really interesting take on anxiety. They said it's not always the enemy.
Wait, hold on. Anxiety can be a good thing?
It's about recognizing the difference between good anxiety and bad anxiety.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the difference?
So good anxiety is that feeling that pushes you to prepare, to perform at your best.
Like the butterflies you get before a big presentation.
Yeah. Or that adrenaline rush that helps you focus during a challenging task.
Okay, I can see that. It's like that nervous energy that helps you, sharpen your focus.
It's your body gearing up for action, and it can be a powerful motivator.
But then how does it turn into bad anxiety?
It's when it becomes overwhelming, when it starts to hold you back.
Okay, that makes sense. So like that feeling of dread and worry that can just like paralyze you.
Exactly, and it prevents you from taking action.
So how do we tell the difference? And more importantly, how do we prevent that good anxiety from, tipping over into the bad kind?
One of the sources suggests a really practical strategy. It involves, well, grab a pen and paper.
Okay.
Write down all your worries, all your fears.
Just get it all out.
Yeah. Then categorize them. Things you can control and things you can't.
That's a great idea. It forces you to really look at those anxieties. And it helps you separate like what you can actually influence and what's totally outside of your control.
Exactly. And once you've done that, then you focus your energy on the things you can control.
So it's about taking action.
Yeah. Make a plan. Start taking steps towards a solution.
Action is the antidote to anxiety.
Precisely. It's about shifting from worry to empowerment.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is all so insightful. We've covered a lot here. It's like we've built this incredible blueprint for intentional living.
We have.
Defining our purpose, visualizing success, acting with intent, surrounding ourselves with positive people, and even learning to harness that good anxiety.
It's a lot, yeah.
But before we get too carried away, maybe we should take a moment to kind of consolidate what we've learned.
I think that's a great idea.
All right, so we've covered a ton in this deep dive. I mean, from purpose to visualization to intent, even like our mental diet, right? All playing this huge role in achieving success.
Yeah, we've touched on a lot.
But, and I think this is important, it's one thing to understand these ideas. It's another thing to actually, use them.
Totally.
So what are some things we can do, like starting today, to really integrate these tools, make them, part of our lives?
Well, one of the sources suggested something really simple, but I think pretty effective.
Okay, I'm listening.
Starting each day with a clear intention.
Like a mini mission statement for the day.
Exactly. It could be super simple. Something like, today I'm going to approach every task with focus and positivity.
I like that.
Or, I'm going to make time for something that brings me joy. Something like that.
Yeah. The key is to choose something that aligns with your bigger purpose. And I guess sets the tone for how you want to be in the world that day.
Right.
It's like giving your internal GPS that extra bit of guidance. So even as you're going through the day, you're reminded of the bigger picture.
Exactly.
But what about when those bigger challenges hit? When self-doubt creeps in and you start questioning yourself. The sources talked a lot about mindset. So how do we cultivate a more resilient, a more positive outlook?
There was this one technique that really stood out to me. It's called cognitive reframing. It's all about becoming aware of those negative thoughts.
You mean like those self-sabotaging ones?
Yeah, and then actively challenging them.
So instead of just letting them run wild, you took control. You actually questioned their validity.
Exactly. So next time you catch yourself thinking, I'm not good enough, or, I'll never be able to do that.
Which we all do.
Right. Stop and ask yourself, wait, is this thought even true? What evidence do I have to support it?
It's like putting those negative thoughts on trial, making them defend themselves.
I love that. And once you've challenged that thought, the next step is to reframe it, in a more positive way.
Can you give an example?
Sure. So instead of I'm not good enough, you might reframe it as I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm committed to becoming the best version of myself.
It's amazing how a simple shift in perspective can completely change how you feel and how you approach challenges.
Totally.
But even with all the positive self-talk and mental reframing, there's still going to be, setbacks, disappointments.
Of course.
How do we stay motivated? How do we keep ourselves from giving up when things get rough?
One of the most important things to remember is that progress, it's not always a straight line.
Yeah, there are going to be ups and downs.
Exactly. Twists and turns, moments of exhilaration, and moments of frustration. The key is to embrace the whole journey. Knowing that those detours, those unexpected challenges, they're all part of the process.
It's like you've got to enjoy the ride, even when the road gets a little bumpy.
Right. And here's another thing, and I think this is super important. Celebrate those wins.
Yes.
No matter how small they might seem, take the time to acknowledge your progress, give yourself credit.
Savor those moments of achievement. It's so easy to, get caught up in striving for that next goal that you forget to appreciate how far you've already come.
Right. It's like you're so focused on reaching the destination that you miss all the beautiful scenery along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But celebrating those wins, it keeps you motivated.
Yeah, it boosts your confidence.
And it reinforces the belief that you are capable of achieving great things.
This has been such a great deep dive. I mean, we've explored so much.
We really have.
The power of purpose, visualization, intent, the importance of, a positive mental diet, even learn some practical ways to manage that anxiety and reframe those negative thoughts.
A lot of great tools in the toolbox.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired
Yeah.
and ready to take action.
Me too.
And to everyone listening, remember, this is just the beginning. The real magic, it happens when you start applying these principles to your own life.
When you start creating a life that feels, well, meaningful, fulfilling.
Aligned with, with who you really are.
As your truest self, yeah.
So here's a little challenge for you. Think about a goal you've been putting off. Something that really excites you, but maybe intimidates you a little too.
It's got to be a little scary, right?
Now close your eyes and just imagine you've already achieved it. What does that success feel like? What steps did you take to get there? Hold on to that feeling, hold on to that vision, and start taking those first steps today. You've got this.
And remember, those setbacks are going to come. They're inevitable, but they don't define you.
Embrace the journey, learn from every experience, and keep moving forward. With purpose, with clarity, and with a wwhole lot of heart.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This is The Deep Dive, signing off. Happy diving, everyone.